Take 4.
Take 7.
Hey, Eric. How you doing tonight?
Hey, John. I'm doing great. How are you?
I wish the audio would work.
You would think after this, we did not have this much trouble getting the audio to sync and work back when we were doing Skype.
Yes.
FaceTime and Audio Hijack seem to have challenges.
They have, they have difficulties coexisting. Something.
But
so,
we're here now. Anyway,
well,
how was your Mother's Day?
It was good. So one of the things that we have disliked about our house since we bought it 10 years ago is the front door. And
okay, like just the physical door, or like the entire frame
like
and
the
everything?
Color. No,
just the color of the door.
I mean, it has needed to be painted since we moved in, pretty much. I don't know, or it's certainly gotten worse over the years. Anyway, net. The Mother's Day present was, let's paint the front door. And so, like,
new handle, new paint.
It has a new thumb latch kit.
Okay.
But
same handles.
Functional. So, yeah, well, the handles are functional at this point. Handle. The handles are all, they work great now that they've had the rebuild kit installed by Tony.
Yes. Big
my
fans of Tony.
My friend. Anyway, so, net, we spent quite a bit of time on Sunday painting a door.
Painting a door.
We went down, first thing in the morning and picked out a paint color. It's going to be kind of a dark red. And I'll be honest, like I walk up to the door last night. I'm like, oh, that door is going to look awesome once it has like 2 more coats of paint on it. Like the color is going to be good. I would say don't look too closely. You can look from very far away and say, hey, you should maybe have painted that better. 1 coat paint is a lie.
You were suckered in by the marketing.
Oh, entirely. Yeah. So whatever.
No primer necessary as well.
Well, I'm painting on a white door, so I don't know. Yeah. So, here's what we did, because on the functional door, the side that actually opens, so it's French doors, right? And the side that actually opens, that's the side that gets all the use. And that's got the dings and the cracks and the other stuff. And so, it wasn't sealed or painted on the bottom. So anyway, we wound up taking the door off so that I could super glue some stuff together, and I could use some of the wood putty to putty some of the places flat, and I took a sander to the whole thing, and anyway, it's good. And so that one was done horizontally. The second one was done vertically, since it was painted while the other one was horizontal drying and couldn't have been picked up to be installed, and blah, blah, blah. And it was raining.
Sure.
So, we only had a certain amount of area that we could have the door flat out front underneath the cover. Anyway, but net, the door was not done by the time my son's practice had to happen. And the place that I was planning on taking my wife for dinner turns out to be temporarily closed. Anyway, we had a bit of but net, we wound up, I felt actually, I was like, oh, technology rules again. Because the fallback plan was, hey, Stanford's is basically halfway between where the rehearsal was and home. So why don't, after the rehearsal finishes at 7, we'll just kind of meet in the middle for dinner at Stanford's. Okay. And I was able to go on Open Table and get a reservation, which made me feel a tiny bit guilty walking past all the other people that were waiting for a table when I made a reservation that morning at when I realized, sure, the other place is not open. Anyway.
Yeah.
But we had a good day. We had a good day.
Well,
how about
you feel any better? Red is a notoriously difficult color to paint with. It's
I don't
Google
think I knew
why
that.
is red paint so hard to use.
Oh, really?
Give you all sorts of information about. Yes, no, and ask me how I know, because we also have a red door. My wife years ago said, "I want a red door," and it took, I'm going to go 4 coats of paint before we were like, all right, that looks now like it's supposed to.
It's barely acceptable, because let me tell you, mine's very far from barely at the moment.
Anyways, no, our Mother's Day. So every year, my wife, the tradition is we go get pansies. And it's only the last couple of years that I finally remembered that it's pansies and not petunias to get. That was kind of the Mother's Day joke for a number of years, that Dad would always get the wrong kind of flowers to plant in the front yard. He'd always get petunias and not pansies, and Mom likes pansies, not petunias.
Okay.
So the last 2 years, I have finally figured out whatever the mnemonic is that I need in my head. Petunia pig, no good. That's how I remember it's not Petunia pig.
Petunia pig. I'm sorry. What?
I think it's a Warner Brothers character, like Porky and Petunia pig. Anyways,
sorry.
I think
it's a TV
it doesn't really matter if that's real.
So long as
that is the mnemonic.
So long as
that
the mnemonic
functions
works
in my brain now,
yes.
And it tells me it's not petunias, because petunias are for pigs, and my wife is not a pig. She likes pansies.
Okay.
So that's how Anyways, so we got the pansies. We planted the pansies on like Saturday afternoon. And she wanted salmon for her Mother's Day dinner. So we did.
Did you grill, or you went out?
No, we didn't grill. She had told me about a recipe that I had made for her a while ago, which I didn't remember what it was. And that was the salmon she wanted. So I'm desperately trying to remember, what did I cook for her last time? Because it was a baked salmon, and broiled. And anyways, I didn't get the right salmon recipe, but she said this one was actually quite good too. So she was fine with it. So I did not ruin Mother's Day. I got
good
tasty salmon.
Good to not ruin Mother's Day.
And pansies. So
okay, not petunias.
Not petunias. Okay. No. Anyways.
Okay.
So there we go. Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well done. Well done, you. Well done, you. I think this coming Sunday, I should be able to put another coat, or 2, maybe, if I'm lucky, on the doors. So fingers will be crossed.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the fact that the paintbrushes are still up in the fridge. I don't know that they'll make it a week. I probably needed to have cleaned them out, but anyway. when I was putting home, I mean, I've been gone for the last couple of days on a work trip, and I went to the store tonight, and as I was bringing home I was putting away groceries, I was like, oh, somebody's going to have to do something about those at some point, but it's not going to be me, because I need to go downstairs and talk to Eric. So that's okay. That's a future John problem.
That's right. That's not a right now John problem.
That guy, he deserves it. I don't know. So anyway, that's okay. So, okay. So, I threw one thing in follow-up here because I saw the news that, and this I guess was last week, but NSO Group was fined, or the case by Facebook against NSO for the hacking of WhatsApp in 2019. The judge ruled that the NSO had to pay $167 million in damages,
Oof.
Which actually, so technically, and it didn't actually say in there, or if it did, I missed it, anything about the legal fees, but it said that this is so, I don't know, ironic, but so WhatsApp sued them for $400,000 in
right
work that the WhatsApp employees had to do to recover, remediate, fix the bug, etc.
Right.
But the judge laid on an additional $167,254,000 in punitive damages after a 5-year legal battle. And we have talked about this. It turns out
a lot.
A bunch.
We started in 2020, which is about a 5-year legal battle.
Oh, yeah. So that was the first one?
Our first one was 2020, episode 159.
159. So thank you for your research, because you pulled these out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times we talked about this. 159, 195, 210, 241, 291, and 368.
Most recently, and now
the brisket saga was 291.
388, right?
That's pretty
Today's
funny.
388, is that right?
388. Yeah. So
there you go.
Yeah, been a long time coming. So I'm not crying a tear, or if I am, it's a tear of joy. Yeah, will they appeal? Of course, probably. I don't know, but we shall see. So the case is let's see. I pulled out another couple quotes, but it says last December. Oh, in fact, that was when we did this. I think that last one that we did, we had talked about the winning, but they still hadn't, the damages hadn't been computed or whatever. But it said Judge Phyllis Hamilton, who presided over the case, ruled that NSO Group was liable for breaching federal and California hacking laws in its 2019 spyware campaign against the 1,400 WhatsApp users. The judge ruled that NSO Group was also liable for breaching WhatsApp's terms of service, which prohibit the use of the app for malicious purposes. That's interesting, huh? So the 1,400 people included dissidents, human rights activists, and journalists. So there you go.
Okay.
Hopefully, the end of that saga, and also a strong precedent if we're lucky. So there you go. Follow up.
Nice. All right. Well, my topic today is a great blog post by Trail of Bits. They have a nice little blog post on the cryptography behind passkeys. I know we've talked about passkeys quite a bit in the past, and it's pretty in-depth. If you are curious of how passkeys work and what's different about passkeys, great kind of primer intro article on how they function and the cryptography behind them, right? So I just pulled out a few things to chat about. Like at their core, passkeys are just key pairs used to produce digital signatures. When registering a passkey, a website saves the public key and an identifier. And then when the authenticating a user via a passkey, the website provides a challenge and waits for a signed response using this challenge and some other metadata such as the identifier. The identifier is used to look up the public key, which is then used to verify the signature. So this is not anything fancy pants or new.
Cryptography, yeah.
It's how things work. But the reason why that this now functions is the WebAuthn specification. That's the bits that the browser is using that users access a website through the browser, which is where the authn user agent sits on some kind of device, your phone, a laptop, whatever it is. And then the browser interacts with that piece of hardware or software that generates the passkey key pair for the digital signature. So you've seen, if you've used passkeys at all, you usually log into a website, you can now click, log in with a passkey, and it usually will give you something like a QR code, and then you use your phone's camera, and then that will pull the passkey and authenticate you on your hardware device, your phone, and send the website a the answer to the challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and the website then validates that and said, "Yep, that's Eric. We'll let Eric in."
Mm-hmm.
So, it's the article does talk a little bit about let me find it. The threat model and the different types of authenticators and how it's better for anti-phishing. So, you can, there are ways that you can try to get around it, but it's much more difficult to get around it for hackers to, figure out ways to get around how passkeys work to be able to do it. And it goes into a little detail about how passkeys function and how they kind of overcome some of the challenges of just the passkeys. So it does talk about the threat model. It's better than passwords. It kind of eliminates the risk of phishing and password reuse. But there are browser attacks and authenticators that can be used to intercept or show something different that you're not supposed to, or maybe your authenticator is compromised, the thing you're using for to manage your private keys for your passkeys. If it's counterfeit hardware, some kind of backdoor authenticator software. So those kind of things can extract your private keys and then go through. So anyways, there's some great stuff in just kind of how it functions and how it works, and finishes up with kind of the time to adopt passkeys is now. I've been slowly migrating over. More and more websites will give me hey, you could use a passkey. My bank finally is now providing passkeys. Forever, it has been user password and an SMS.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you do two-factor, and now they're doing passkeys.
You're like,
so
please.
Yeah.
I noticed my insurance company's app used a passkey the other day when I had to log in and pay an insurance bill. And I was like, oh, hey, there we go.
Yeah. There you go.
That'll play.
So there you go. It's a great article. Read up about passkeys, especially how they function. Get familiar with them and start using them.
This looks like a good primer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll have to see. I don't think. Yeah. Let's see. What does it say? This was a good one. Passkeys do not fully protect against most compromises of user devices, but they do serve as an effective rate limiter for attacks, as each signature requires a separate user interaction with the authenticator.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, passkeys do not protect against attackers that can control the domain of the website, either through a direct takeover or through subdomain hijacking. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Yeah. I'm happy to see the adoption. Okay. My topic. Let me scroll down to find my topic. So I've been trying to kind of tread a little lightly around some of the stuff that's happening in our government at the moment, which is just all sorts of happy, fun stuff. But the Telemessage, which is the Signal clone by the Israeli company, that
it's been in the news recently.
Has been in the news a number of times. But there was a photo of, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, of the now former National Security Advisor Mike Waltz in the Situation Room, or in a conference, with a photo from press over his shoulder of his phone where he was using it. So it says, Mike Waltz was photographed last week using Telemessage Signal during a cabinet meeting, and the photo seemed to show that he was communicating with other high-ranking officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, U.S. Director of National Security Tulsi Gabbard, and what appears to be U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. In the days since the photo was published, Telemessage has reportedly suffered a series of breaches that illustrate concerning security flaws.
You don't say.
Yeah. Analysis of the app's Android source code also appears to indicate fundamental flaws in the service's security scheme.
Huh.
And although this article didn't say that in Zach Whitaker's newsletter, there was a comment that they clearly had access to the plain text of the messages, which means that in the hack, there are many government agencies that are using this at the moment. So it says analysis of the app's Android. As these findings emerged, Telemessage, an Israeli company that completed an acquisition last year by the U.S.-based company Smarsh, imposed a service pause on its products pending investigation.
Okay.
So our lovely senator, Mr. Wyden, called for the Department of Justice to investigate Telemessage in a letter on Tuesday, alleging that the service, quote, is a serious threat to U.S. national security. Telemessage is a federal contractor, but the consumer apps it offers are not approved for use under the federal government's Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, or FedRAMP. In his letter, Wyden referenced that several federal agencies use Telemessage, asserting that the company, quote, sold dangerously insecure communication software to the White House and other federal agencies. I'm sure there will be more to come. So just leaving this post here for the future.
For future follow-up. See if we get 7 follow-ups on this one. I was a little surprised when you were like, oh, and. We talked about it a lot.
We clearly have.
All right. Okay. You ready for fun?
I need something fun. Hit me up.
So this one is interesting fun. So space.
Okay.
There was the keyword now, a Soviet spacecraft that's been stuck in low Earth orbit ever since 1972.
Oh.
And so there's been this Soviet spacecraft that was designed to, it was supposed to go to Venus. And so it was designed to withstand the atmosphere of Venus. And it has fallen into Earth. Its orbit has slowly decayed over the last 52 years. And this past weekend, it finally came hurtling back to the planet's surface, according to multiple government space agencies, NASA, Russia, several of them.
Okay.
And so the comment is this spacecraft, they predicted that it would remain intact and not burn up as it returned to Earth because of how it was designed and, to actually go and, I guess, land on Venus. So NASA said, yep, it's possible that it's called the Cosmos 482, survived re-entry. The European Space Surveillance and Tracking Network said it most likely survived and reached the ground intact, but it fell over the ocean. And any surviving remnants of Cosmos 482 probably going to be pretty hard to find.
Oh.
Which is kind of a bummer.
They don't actually know where it landed, though, huh?
I didn't pull it. It's in the article, I think. It says in the Indian Ocean, where was it? Somewhere in the Indian Ocean west of Jakarta, Indonesia. So it re-entered the atmosphere 350 miles west of the Middle Andaman Island off the coast of Myanmar.
I guess we should be happy that it didn't hit a populated area.
Somewhere, yeah. So the downside, the bummer is like, well, if you could find it, if they can find it, it will help you design spaceships going to Mars, because you would have something that has lasted for 52, 53 years in orbit, in space, and you'll be able to tell a lot from, anyways. So that was my something fun.
That's cool.
Soviet space probe that finally made its way back to Earth.
Oh, that is fun. That is cool. I guess Russia made it to last.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I saw this article last week, and Oregon. We live in Oregon. We're always hearing things about like when's the volcano going to erupt,
right,
or off the coast and like have a tsunami and blah blah blah. So when I saw like it was one of those attention grabbing headlines that was like underwater volcano is going to erupt this year in Oregon.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, is it? How do they know? So this is an underwater volcano that is erupting and will likely have a larger eruption this year. And I actually did not know much about this, but it's not the one probably that they're talking about for like a violent eruption. This is it's the axial seamount off the coast. It says hundreds of miles off the coast of Oregon.
Okay.
The volcano known as Axial Seamount is located nearly 1 mile underwater on a geological hotspot where searing gushes of molten rock rise from the Earth's mantle and into the crust. The Axial Seamount also happens to be located on the Juan de Fuca Ridge, an area where two massive tectonic plates, the Pacific and the Juan de Fuca plates, are constantly spreading apart, causing a steady buildup of pressure beneath the planet's surface. So evidently, the frequency of earthquakes has picked up dramatically as the volcano inflates with increasingly more magma, which is why they believe an eruption could be near. At the moment, there are a couple of hundred earthquakes a day, it says. Okay. But that's evidently a lot less than they saw before the previous eruption. From University of Washington School of Oceanography, marine geophysicist and Professor William Wilcock. The other quote says, I would say it's going to erupt sometime later this year or early 2026, but it could be tomorrow because it's completely unpredictable. It will not be an explosive event. You won't see ash clouds above the water or anything like that. It's like if you put a mile of seawater on top of Kilauea. You might see some fountaining, but that's it. But then the other cool thing about this is evidently, since it is relatively mild, it makes a perfect volcano for human observation. And they have cameras there, and they plan to live stream the eruption, which they've never been able to do before. But there's a link in this article to a oceanobservatories.org streaming underwater video, and it's kind of cool. But evidently, so the funny thing is, it's like, what does it say? It says live video streams of an actively venting hydrothermal chimney occur during the hours of 2, 5, 8, and 11 EDT and PDT day and night for a duration of 14 minutes.
Okay.
Evidently, they're not streaming full time for cost purposes or something. But so they plan to stream, like, for whatever future eruption there is, they'll be live streaming it, and you can go to the Ocean Observatories Initiative, oceanobservatories.org, and there's a video. If you try and click the watch the streaming, it'll take you to a YouTube recording from the previous live stream. But it says the camera will be live in 28 minutes and 28 seconds, 27, 25, 24. Cool. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. And I don't know how I could get notified when it happens, so I'm not sure I'll catch it, quote, live. But that will be fun to watch when it erupts later this year or next.
Yeah, or whenever. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, John.
There we go. All right. Something fun.
Enjoyable as always.
All right, my friend. Have a great week. I will talk to you later.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.